An elderly man named Patrick sits by himself, overdue at nighttime in his trailer, listening to the radio with a small glass of liquor on the table. A romantic tune performs, and as he hears it, he recalls a young woman peering into his car through streams of rainwater outside the trailer. Thunder rumbles in a heavy rainstorm begins mirroring the scene in his mind. Patrick glances at a vial of liquid, however, then sets it apart. Lightning flashes out of doors as a noisy knock sounds at his door. Patrick nervously appears toward the door and tells the stranger to head away, but the knocking keeps, and a moment later a girl's voice pleads from outside asking to be allowed, and after a few hesitation, Patrick opens the door to find a rain-soaked younger lady searching for a journey to city. His vehicle sits simply outdoor the trailer. Patrick glances around his kitchen, then opens the door wider for her. The girl, sopping wet and shivering, steps in but declines the towel Patrick offers, announcing she simply desires to get to city. Patrick questions how she ended up there so late, but she can handiest give an explanation for that she ran. Patrick informs her that his automobile is damaged and he cannot assist. Buses don't run at this hour. Both he apologizes for not beginning the door sooner, and explaining that nearby kids regularly play pranks, knocking and strolling away. The female notices the glass on his table. Patrick shows she cast off her moist sweater to permit it dry. Female insists she might not stay lengthy and requested to apply the cell phone. Patrick seems no longer to listen her request. In place of expressing surprise at her claim that she'd been swimming on the beach, he sees her bare muddy feet. Puzzled, the seashore is some distance from here. He invites her to sit down as she virtually needs rest. Hesitantly, the woman takes a seat, and Patrick offers her tea. She declines once more, citing she'd choose a cigarette. However, Patrick doesn't have any. Patrick puts a cup of tea in front of her. She asks another time to name a taxi, mentioning she's staying nearby, however does not want to walk in this climate. Patrick speedy deduces she's now not neighborhood. The swimming season ended long ago due to the bloodless, and storms like this most effective show up in summertime. Patrick offers her some alcohol as an alternative, but she persists with her request for a phone. He hands her a few cash, explaining he doesn't have a cellular. She'd need to use a pay smartphone, but it's tough to reach because it's beyond the park gates, which are locked at night time. He provides that the locals are extraordinary, complete of fear, similar to him. The lady thanks him for his assist and starts off evolved to depart, no longer wanting to disrupt him further. However, Patrick factors out that she'll must look ahead to the park to reopen reluctantly. She concurs to live and watch for her garments to dry as she stands. She begins to discover the room, asking questions, which Patrick answers thoughtfully. He stocks that he grew up by using the coast and moved to the town in his 20s, even as wandering. She unearths a few feminine gadgets on a dresser. She examines a small watch and admits she's unemployed too. Constantly unfortunate, something they appear to have in common, but Patrick disagrees, citing he worked as an electrician until a shocking twist of fate regarding a mild socket made him quit after such an excessive experience. Routine paintings misplaced its appeal. He muses that human beings crave hazard in search of thrills through risky endeavors like skydiving. In the meantime, the woman picks up a locket containing a lock of hair. Patrick maintains, musing about human nature's draw to threat before asking wherein she's staying. The girl gives vague solutions, arousing Patrick's suspicion. She also claims she's in no way been right here earlier than, although Patrick reveals her face oddly acquainted. He's taking the locket from her and suggests she take a shower to warm up. Noticing her shivering, she finally is of the same opinion and heads to the toilet behind the closed door. Nevertheless wary of Patrick, she steadies herself in the reflect, twiddling with an earring. Then she steps underneath the water, notices the water going down her frame turns muddy, blended with streaks of blood washing away into the drain. Panicked, she hears Patrick knocking. Bringing her a towel, the water clears, and as she peeks out from at the back of the shower curtain, she sees the towel putting at the door. Looking again within the replicate, her brow seems easy with no sign of damage. Meanwhile, Patrick heats soup on the stove and gives her a dry sweater, citing it belonged to an ex-female friend. He reassures her he's unmarried and she can hold the sweater. The lady admits she's alone too, struggling to attend to herself. That is why own family isn't an alternative. She describes herself as impartial, someone interested in chance, best to regret it later. Patrick pours thick crimson soup into a bowl, amazed with the aid of her self-recognition maximum. Ladies, he says, blame others for their errors. She all of sudden laments, agreeing to live past due at paintings to lock the gates. This declaration alarms Patrick specially. While he notices her earring, she movements to the couch with the soup at the same time as he rinses the pot, but she would not touch the soup. Instead, she asks approximately Patrick's middle of the night activities. He admits he suffers from insomnia and aging. He says brings stress nights packed with nightmares, not like childhood. in which even after frightening cartoons, sleep got here without difficulty. He washes the pot, looking the water, flip crimson and thick like blood. Patrick displays on how nightmares blur with truth filling the thoughts, with fear making one want to vanish or go back to harmless desires. Lightning flashes outside once more, and the lady abruptly questions about how she were given into the park. Gates have been locked. Patrick is curious to know as well. Suddenly there's another knock at the door, and Patrick asks the female who would possibly have recognized she turned into coming to him. The lady seems at a loss for words, insisting she didn't tell everyone. Patrick opens the door, but no person is there. Pours, the wind howls, and thunder crashes. He explains that the youngsters from the trailer park enjoys teasing him with the aid of knocking and jogging away. He steps again to the sink even as the woman watches the door, questioning she saw him lock it earlier. Meanwhile, Peter discreetly pulls out a vial of a few substance and stares at it. The girl notices his boots via the couch and pours her soup into them. All of a sudden the power is going out, plunging the trailer into darkness. Patrick lighting fixtures a flashlight and scans the ceiling, in which it seems a person is probably strolling above. He speculates that a tree would possibly have fallen on the power traces, which means she should live longer. He tests outdoor. However, he is reluctant to wear the soup-stuffed boots. The woman feels awkward, admitting she let her creativeness run wild with scary mind and now feels embarrassed. Patrick reassures her, emphasizing she's unfastened to leave any time. Patrick heads to check the circuit breakers, and the woman follows the usage of the flashlight to illuminate the manor. Patrick opens the relay container, sharing a youth story approximately being terrified of his father at some stage in a power outage. The female glances down at a toolbox and suddenly notices blood on a hammer, but while she shines the mild at once on it, the hammer seems dry and clean. Then she sees bleeding scratches on Patrick's again and offers to fetch first aid elements to deal with them in the lavatory. She rummages through the cupboard and unearths a vial containing her other earring amidst women's add-ons. Terrified, she tries to put the earring again, but accidentally drops it down the drain. She senses a person mendacity behind the shower curtain. With a rush of worry, she pulls it again, only to locate an empty bath. Meanwhile, Patrick drifts into any other memory of the variety wrench car. The lady returns from the toilet, affirming she's leaving. Patrick attempts to dissuade her, suggesting she wait out the storm and inviting her to play cards. He admits he handiest knows one recreation. I doubt it. The girl, however, demands to understand why he has her earring. Patrick, indignant, accuses her of snooping wherein she shouldn't. The female insists she changed into seeking to make feel of what is going on and now firmly states she's leaving. She asked for the key. Looking to head home, Patrick, puzzled, asked what scared her a lot. What did he did incorrect? He allowed her in and gave her warmth and offered her drinks, yet she's repaying him with accusations. He laments that ladies usually do that, bursting in into his life handiest to rip it apart. What's she even doing right here? The lady starts off evolved, yelling and disturbing the key, but Patrick calmly tells her the door isn't locked. She tries the door and finds it indeed unlocked. Embarrassed by using her baseless outburst, she comes to a decision to stay. Patrick offers playing cards, for I doubt it, joking that if she needs, she will pour alcohol into his sneakers for the primary time that night. The female smiles. Patrick once again wonders in which he would possibly have seen her earlier. Than the girl speculates that as people age, all the ladies they acknowledged begin to look alike, similar in their struggles, are all running from something as they play. Patrick stocks funny memories about his neighbors who stay close to the park's front in turn. She admits she's been hiding from truth and her own flaws. She confesses she changed into drinking at a bar before the typhoon. Patrick recollects she cited the seaside, but within the spirit of the game says he would not believe her. He then admits he lied, approximately the sweater. He explains how he met his past due wife at a fuel station, in which she requested him to buy her a bag of chips. Before everything he concept she was homeless, but she was nicely dressed with fantastically smooth hair. He sold her the chips, and that they sat collectively, ingesting in silence. She later died of an overdose. Unquestionably, no one set foot in his home for a long term. He's glad she's here. Pronouncing her presence makes him feel alive. He pours extra into her glass, but as she raises it to her lips, she notices a lipstick stain on the rim. Reigniting her suspicions, the typhoon intensifies, and Patrick steps outdoor all of a sudden, and the woman hears a smartphone vibrating. She follows the sound to a room and unearths a telephone on the mattress, where a useless girl lies underneath the sheets. Terrified, she attempts to hide and plans to get away through a small window inside the storage room, proceeding to wreck it with a hammer she formerly concept was blanketed in blood. However, when she picks up the hammer, it seems bloody once more. Realizing her best way out is through the door, she steps out of the garage room and runs straight into Patrick, who captures and ties her up, forces her mouth open, and makes her drink a mysterious liquid. She struggles, but Patrick drags her to the bedroom and throws her onto the bed next to the dead female as she desperately tries to unfasten her hands and get away via a small window. Patrick starts off evolved to monologue, dialogue. Approximately the lady mendacity there she had asked for chips and willingly were given into his car, and the modern day lady. What did she expect showing up at a stranger's domestic within the middle of the night? Fate, he says, has not anything to do with it. It's all approximately choices. The lady feels herself dropping attention. Patrick admits he gave her a banned substance, one that can quickly kill her. He recounts the story of the first woman he killed who approached him for the duration of a typhoon on the seaside, asking for a ride. He vividly remembers the tattoo on her ribs, despite the fact that he has long forgotten her face these days. He says he's been lucky 2 kills in a single night time. No one will ever recognize it. He continues, is just a fable. There may be no God, best a sense of right and wrong. That can be neglected because the girl passes out. Patrick covers her face and waits for her to die over again. Recalling the stormy seaside scene, all of a sudden he notices a tattoo on her chest and realizes with mounting horror that she's the identical girl he killed years in the past. Plunged right into a nightmare, Patrick is confronted by using all the girls he has murdered fill his house, consuming, bathing, and giggling at him. He is all of a sudden enveloped in darkness, in which he hears the terrifying sound of his father's ventilator, a noise that haunted him as a child. Rising from the darkness, soaking wet in blood and melancholy, he is surrounded by a wave of his sufferers. Because the sound of police knocking at the door grows louder, his most current victim steps out of the shadows, forcing him to pour the contents of the vial right into a bottle and drink it. The alternative ladies force him on, driving him to madness. All of a sudden it all ends. Patrick opens his eyes to find there was no typhoon, no female. The entirety had been a hallucination. Door knocks once more, and whilst he opens it he sees kids strolling away. He pulls an empty vial from his pocket and laughs, figuring out he drank the solution in his delirium. Returning inside, he locks the door. Moments later, a thud is heard, the sound of his frame hitting the ground. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a comment about your favorite movie and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.